Hi, today I want to talk about Blu-ray and UHD box sets and the good aspects of them and the less good aspects of them. I'm going to jump straight in and talk about the box set that kind of inspired this, or these thoughts at least anyway. Let me just figure out how this works again. There we go. Okay, so the box set I'm referring to is the Sony Pictures Classics 30th Anniversary 4K Ultra HD Collection. It's a bit of a mouthful. And Best Buy currently showing this at $245. I know that now you can get it a lot cheaper than that, but at the time, that was the standard price, I believe, like $250. And if I look at it, it's got the following films. Some of these are exclusive to this box set. So it's got Orlando, the Celluloid Closet, The City of Lost Children, Run Lola Run, SLC Punk, Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon, The Devil's Backbone, Volva, Synecdoche in New York, Still Alice, Call Me By Your Name. Now, some of these films I really like, and a lot of these films I don't much care for. That's personal preference. I'm sure everybody's got their own favourites. But the one that caught my eye was Run, Lola, Run. It caught my eye to such an extent that I picked it up. But I had to pick this up on eBay because it wasn't released individually. It was just a part of this box set. It's actually the same story for another film that I really like called Synecdoche, New York. Now, these are great films. They deserve to be on 4K, absolutely. Especially this one, and we'll get into that in more detail shortly. But the annoying thing about this is, if we go back on the website again, that if you want these films, or just one of them, or two, then you have to spend $250. Now, I know at the minute you can actually get it cheaper. I think, import fees. I'm not sure if there's going to be more import fees when it arrives or anything else, but £170. It's a lot of money. That's a huge amount of money to spend on maybe 1, 2, 3, even 4 films that you really liked. And the problem I have with this, the major issue I have with this, is they're not getting individual releases. So, if I look at Blu-ray.com, the excellent Blu-ray.com, no release date for this. Not in America, not worldwide, nowhere. This is the only time you're going to get it on 4K UHD, at least for now. And I don't know if that's going to change. I have no idea. And it's the same story for Synecdoche in New York as well. This is the 4K disc, no release date. You have to go onto the box set. New from $160 there. So it is coming down. Presumably it'll continue to fall a little bit. I don't know who this is for, I guess is the point I'm getting at. And there's a bunch of other box sets out there, and I struggle to understand who's buying them, except people who love films so much they will buy any 4K UHDs that they can, or they're just such a film buff that they genuinely appreciate and love all of these films. So these box sets have been around for ever, really, for as long as I can remember. You've been able to get box sets of films, but usually the ones that drew me in were like trilogy box sets or quadrilogy box sets or whatever. So the Alien box sets I often found quite interesting. And maybe I'd dip in there if there was a new format. If there was a Blu-ray version of that, maybe I would have bought that. And same for UHD, because it was all like one series of films that were all connected to each other. The chances are, I suppose, that if you're a big fan of the franchise, you will go out and purchase that, even if it's maybe a little bit more expensive. Maybe it's got like a book or some nice artwork, other little goodies involved, maybe special features that you've never seen before. You would go out and buy that. Fine. I don't really have a problem with that at all. Although it's nice when there's individual releases. If it's at least part of the same franchise, then that's one thing. But these box sets are interesting to me because they are generally unconnected entirely. So if I look through them again, let's get this back up. There's another one, the Warner Brothers 100th Anniversary 25 Film Collection, the award winners. So I'm presuming this is Academy Award winners, or just any awards. Um, Best Buy's not very good at listing the films that are on these. Hang on, here we go. So some of these are incredible films, and I'm sure on Blu-ray they look great too. Uh, but what are the chances that you're going to love 25 films that are all the only combining factor of all of them is that they have all won an award at some point? Um, I just noticed this as well. It's got The Lord of the Rings 2 and 3, The Two Towers and Return of the King, but it doesn't seem to have The Fellowship, which is a hell of a choice. Because Lord of the Rings, especially, you're gonna buy a box set of all three films at this point. They're quite old now. It's rare you're gonna go out and watch one, not knowing what it is, and then go, oh, I'll pick up the other two. Oh, look, they're on this box set. Now, $133 for 25 Blu-rays is okay. I think a lot of these films you can find them cheaper if you went and collected them individually, but I suppose you do get a nice box set. The chances of you liking all 25 films, though, is quite remote, I would have thought. Um, I like a lot of these films. The Departed, Argo, Lord of the Rings films, One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest. There's some really good stuff in here, but some of these films I don't even know. I'm sure that's the same for a lot of people out there, unless you're a mega film buff, of course. So when this first came out, say $150, third party $196. I don't know why. If it was 150 when it came out, it's not unreasonable that at all, really. But I think you've got to like at least 20 of those films to make that worthwhile. Very strange, these box sets. I actually wanted to bring up the worst box set I can remember, which was, there was a Spider-Man trilogy box set, and the artwork was absolute garbage. I wonder, 2007 it was, I think it came out. There it is. This box set, that's dreadful, isn't it? Isn't that just absolutely awful? £32 for no. You should never pay that. That's ridiculous, and it just dreadful artwork for a film that had this artwork, which is really quite nice. To put it out like this is an insult, really. There was this trilogy. I don't know what's on the inside of this though. I just ordered this, and it hasn't arrived yet. That's kind of crap as well, that cover. But I feel like, that's a bit better. I mean, £45, no. Used from £4.74. Yeah, this shouldn't cost you more than £10 max, I don't think. Just buy a used copy. God, it's 16 years old now. Crazy. But the original artwork, when you could have bought the DVD, the Blu-rays, this just rubbish, garbage. So I like it when they do a box set that's actually had some time and effort gone into it. That's great. I don't get these random film box sets that are so expensive, and it's such a shame when we're crying out for 4K UHDs of certain films, and they're not coming out. But then they suddenly get dropped into something like this. Like, this is not like a super special disc. Like, it's the standard artwork. It's just that. There's no booklet in here. It's just the disc. And that's fine, But the only reason I have these is because somebody bought, some entrepreneurial young soul bought them, the whole box, and decided to sell off the individual discs that they didn't want anymore. And two of them were the two films that I wanted. Now, I paid over the odds. I paid more for these than I really should. And if they weren't films that I really, really liked, like a lot, and really wanted a good copy of, I wouldn't have touched them for the price they were. I think it's somewhere between £40 and £50 each. And that's insane. I mean, I really should have just bought the whole box. because I'm getting close to that already. I was tempted to get Crouching Tiger, but I think that has its own release on UHD, so maybe I'll get that in the future some other time. But I wanted to snap these up because I don't know if they're ever going to be available again, and I feel like I've been a bit of an idiot by doing that. That is generally the theme of this channel, by the way, me being a bit of an idiot, spending too much money on films that I shouldn't do, just because I feel like the transfer of this one is going to be such a step up. I'll find out when my new TV arrives, because I'm saving this for my new telly. So let's have a quick look at Capsaholic and see, do we think I might have spent too much money on this? Where's Capsaholic? There it is. So, transition. Yeah, we're in. When I first saw this film, it was in the late 90s. I was at film school, and all of my friends loved this film, like, immediately. It's really cool. It's a really cool film. And actually, I want to know, what was the budget on this? I assume it was quite low. Run, Lola, run. Wikipedia. So Franca Potente, she is amazing. She went on to do much bigger things. She was in The Bourne Identity. That was probably the biggest. Budget, 1.75 million. So nothing. A tiny budget, but it's a great story. Really interesting film. But it wasn't like shot on super amazing equipment. So getting a good 4K out of it, especially there are bits that are animated as well, like upscaling them, it's going to be tough. But if you put enough care and attention into it, you can do it. It can be done. So we'll just take this shot here. Okay. So this is the 4K disc, and it's got all the grain intact. It's a little bit messy, but I'm super delighted they've not DNR'd it to death. That's fantastic. But if I look at the Blu-ray, it's terrible. I watched this on Blu-ray. It was absolutely awful. It's so blurry and rubbish. There is nothing high def about it. I don't even know how they did it. Like, compare it to the 4K. Like, this is what it should look like. Again, it's not the best equipment it was shot on necessarily. Super low budget, but it looks sharp. You know, looks pretty nice. That is just rubbish, and it gets worse when you look at things like the cartoon. So obviously on the 4K disc, they put some effort into it, and we have a version of the film that is pretty nice. So again, don't forget, these are like zoomed in previews. So the UHD, I mean, it looks pretty good. This is the Blu-ray, and it looks kind of blurry and crap. It's hard to really like get it over to people, you know, get it across on this video here, but it's a huge difference. Even just the colours pop so much more. The whites of the eye actually look white, and here it's just like a fuzzy, blurry garbage mess. So I remember looking at the Blu-ray and thinking, this is terrible, and I never looked at it ever again, which is a shame because it's a very good film. It's the kind of film that I would watch over and over again. I really do enjoy it, and that's why I spent so much money on it. And it does look like it's going to be worth it. I think I'm going to enjoy it a lot more. Like, when I first saw it, it was on like a CRT 20-inch, and it looked great on that. Probably on VHS at the time. But you know, I collect these movies because I want to see those old classics that I used to love presented as best as they could, perhaps presented as they might have been in a theatre. But I'm just gutted that it costs so much money. Like, I think the price of UHDs can be kind of crazy in general. I feel like if you're asking for more than 20 quid for a disc of anything, it's a lot of money for people, especially if you want to collect and build up a collection. And generally speaking, like, UHDs, when they come out, they're more than that often. And if you're getting them in from America on imports, they're like £30. If you're getting Criterions, in on imports, 35, 40 pounds, easy, no problem. But then, because I want to see this film, this 1997, was it 97? 98 film, German experimental thriller film that I think is great. I had to pay nearly £50 for it, and that's my problem with these. With Sony, I have a problem with you, sorry, but this white box set, man, you could release all of these individually. It's so bare bones. It's literally a disc, a cover, and there is a slip cover on it, but whatever. I mean, I don't care about slip covers. I know some people do, but I don't really. I would gladly have picked this up for £30 and been super impressed with it. Same with Synecdoche in New York. I would have done the same with that too. But I was never going to buy it here in this box set. It was just too expensive. Maybe it will become more affordable in time. I don't know. But yeah, a weird thing. These box sets. I don't get it. Do you get it? Maybe you can explain to me why they're a good thing. Maybe they open it up to more people, all these different films, and that's fine. But sorry, I've left this on for ages. It's boring just looking at a website, isn't it? Sorry. Maybe you love the fact that you can spend it's a lot of money, but you get a bunch of great films. I think the 6 films from the Columbia sets, they are too expensive for what you get there. 6 films is not great. If I get a box set, I want it to be a nice big box set. Anyway, I really like both of these films. I'm glad I have them. I wish I'd been able to just buy them normally. Because, again, they're nothing special, which is a real shame. And by that I mean the presentation of the box and the art. There's no booklet, there's nothing like that. It's a crying shame for some great films just to be kind of dumped into these boxes. I don't really know what the motivation is. I don't know if they're like huge, big money spinners. Kind of weird. But yeah, I prefer box sets to be just for franchises only, preferably, and to be able to have more choice, individual choice. But that's just me. Anyway, I've rambled on about box sets and my distaste of them for too long. So, yeah, thanks very much for watching. What we're going to talk about next time, possibly the worst Blu-ray transfer disc, rather, that I own for picture quality wise. So if you're interested in finding out what that is and why, and we'll look at video clips and we'll figure out what's going on. I think that could be quite an interesting deep dive, because it looks horrific, and it's a really good film. So again, a shame. If you're interested in that, then obviously come back. This is new. I don't know how good any of this is or interesting, but again, if you want to chat, then obviously comment below and I'll chat to you and we'll have a conversation. I went on Blu-rays forum, Blu-ray.com forum, and I did a long-winded review or something on there, and I was hoping to get a chat going, and someone just went, thanks for the info. That was it. It's like, good conversation. I like chatting about this stuff, so I'll happily chat to anyone in the comments. Anyway, yeah, we'll be back in a few days, maybe a week or something, and we're going to be talking about the worst Blu-ray that I own for picture quality. And then after that, we're going to talk about some Spanish bootlegs, grey market stuff. That could be really interesting. So yeah, there's lots of interesting things to talk about when you're collecting Blu-rays. Anyway, enough. Thanks again. See you soon.